Breaking news. Friend of the show, Simon Atiba, said executive corruption. In case you missed this, Hunter Biden just shocked the nation on massive corruption allegations against him and his family. I think the word shocked is a bit strong.
What? Are we shocked?
Are we shocked? So, but James Comer and the House Oversight Committee subpoenaed him to testify behind closed doors. But Hunter Biden said he would testify in public hearing as soon as December 13th. He has nothing to hide and wants the nation to hear him.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
The acting president's son, Hunter Biden, and I say acting president because they are directing him his entire time on stage. He has agreed to face the House Oversight Committee and testify publicly, requesting a public hearing as soon as December 13th. Your empty investigation has gone on too long. Well, let's read a little bit more. Your empty investigation has gone on too long, wasting too many better used resources. It should come to an end. Hunter Biden's attorney, Abe Lowell, wrote in a letter to the chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Consequently, Mr. Biden will appear at such a public hearing on the date you noticed, December 13th, or any date in December that we can arrange. So if it's going to be one of those hearings where everybody gets 5 minutes, that's just a propaganda session. That's not a real hearing.
But he's going to be there?
Hunter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch it.
I definitely watch it.
I'm in. I think the next thing the next slide had some hilarious thing they added to it. Like I'm Hunter. I would hang out with him if he wasn't such a goddamn narc.
But now, now, I mean, what could possibly be of interest? On a laptop belonging to the son of the president of the United States, who's been exposed as working for foreign nations in a capacity that would affect American policy. What?
Oh, well, he's also been exposed as having a sweet dong.
Yeah, he does.
Flaccid.
And all I need, and the TV is going to tell you, TV news people are going to tell you there's nothing to see here. Move on.
You haven't seen this dong, Jimmy. It's nah, you wouldn't say that if you saw that dong. One of the best dong selfies I've ever seen.
What do you think they're going to say? This is the same guy who got a stripper pregnant and married his dead brother's wife. Nothing he will say will be the truth. That's true. So, hey, when you say it like that, it sounds awesome.
He sounds pretty cool.
That dude's a legend.
Dude, I heard he married his dead brother's wife, then got a stripper pregnant.
Just because he got a stripper pregnant, Kurt, and married his dead brother's wife, doesn't mean that he is devoid of any moral compass. That's not what that means.
Well, before you say that, he also got recorded himself getting a foot job from the live action Mulan while he smokes crack with MTV's Ridiculousness playing in the background.
None of that doesn't mean that he doesn't have a moral compass, Kurt. It's just that his bank account has so much precious metal inside of it that it creates an artificial north on his needle. And fun fact, this is the only needle in his life that he didn't stick in his arm.
Well, I was going to say, there ain't nothing artificial about that needle if you check out that dick selfie.
So
once again.
So here is the chairman of the committee, and here's why he's saying he doesn't want him to testify in public.
You know, as these congressional investigation, these hearings go, you got 20 members on each side that have 5 minutes each. We have tens of thousands of pages of documents where we need to sit down and ask specific substantive questions without filibustering, without interruption, without going 5 minutes back and forth with Jamie Raskins and Dan Goldman and little Moskowitz jumping up and down, filing motions and trying to disrupt the committee hearings.
He's saying it's just a show and he'd like a real thing. Is that what he means?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. He doesn't want it to be a show trial. Here's what Representative Jim Jordan said. He said, "We are glad that Hunter Biden has decided to cooperate, and we look forward to hearing from him in a deposition on December 13th and subsequently at a public hearing."
This was bold.
Yeah. So he wants him to first go in private and then but here's what Josh Hawley said, right? He's a big right winger. Here's what he says.
My view is that the American people have a right to see, and also, they should evaluate this for themselves. I mean, if you do this stuff in private, what happens is there's inevitably bunches of leaks, and then it's well, so and so said this and so said that. And it's like, oh, just do it in public and let the public see. Open the doors so y'all can report on it.
I agree with him because
the American people.
Because I agree with him because I'd rather have someone lying in front of me than lying behind my back. And if there's one thing I don't watch, it's a Biden behind my back. Okay.
I don't want to shower with him. I don't want him sniffing me.
So that's Hunter trying to I'll do it in public. That's his way of trying to pretend he's not a corrupt piece of it, which there is nobody more corrupt than Hunter and Joe Biden.
What private room?
Their corruption makes Donald Trump look like a Boy Scout. Their corruption is the millions of dollars from Chinese, from Burisma, from Ukraine.
You know how I know? Because we sent all of our money to a goddamn war in Ukraine after whatever the hell they were doing over there.
That's right. And then he bragged about getting the prosecutor fired, which they still pretend that that Joe Biden got the prosecutor fired because he really wasn't going after corruption. The reason why they got that prosecutor fired because he was investigating Burisma, which was the board his son was sitting on. That's what happened.
You know how I know that's not true? Because only 30% of the weapons we sent got to the front line.
That's right.
And the rest got sold. So that's how I know the prosecutor was fired for going after corruption. Yeah.
The whole Ukraine war was one big money grift. It was a money laundering operation. It was 100% corruption. You're telling me Joe Biden wanted to get rid of a prosecutor because he wasn't going after corruption? The only reason they would get rid of him is because he was going after corruption. How? Jesus Christ.
Well, keep in mind, the people that don't want to know about this probably are still not aware Ukraine is a goddamn failure and embarrassment.
And a Nazi-filled regime.
And yeah, not even. I know Putin wasn't telling the truth about denazifying because it still got the Nazis.
They still got the Nazis. Yeah, the people who believe that Joe Biden got the prosecutor fired because he wasn't going after corruption believe that the Ukraine war was on the up and up. And that it wasn't a proxy war on purpose, and that we didn't blow up the Nord Stream pipeline, which the United States blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. They don't believe it over at breaking point still. They still can't wrap their brain around. They still think it was 6 guys on a motorboat who did it.
I go back and forth as to whether they really believe it or they're just like, I guess this is what it is. I wouldn't venture to say. You can't speculate about stuff like that. You could, I should think Russell Brand's guilty, that kind of stuff. You jumped right to that.
And
or
of
like
course,
a Title IX thing on a college. I assume the guy's guilty. Yeah.
I like how they just dismiss Seymour Hersh, a guy who's never been proven to be wrong about anything and has been right about everything since the My Lai massacre. And he's a real reporter, unlike...
I had someone argue with me about it. I wish I could remember. I tried to remember his stupid argument to tell you, but it was real dumb. It was something where I was like, oh, you know that Seymour Hersh is good and you're trying to find a reason to like debunk it. It was the lamest thing. I'm just impressed the guy had heard the report that was talking to me.
We're doing live comedy shows in Oxnard, California, Venice, California, Palmdale, California, Omaha, Nebraska, Des Moines, Milwaukee, Lansing, Michigan, Bend, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and Boston. Plus, we're going to put a date in Edmonton, Canada, plus Vancouver. See ya. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all those tickets.